Hi folks, time for another look at your favourite cover art. So several of you have kindly sent in some photos or references to some of the science fiction cover art that you like the best, and we're going to just quickly walk through them. I was going to do this professionally and write a script for it, but I find I have run out of time, so I'm just going to wing it and we'll see how we get on. Right, first we have something that Michael sent to me, and he's a regular viewer and commenter on my videos, and it is Hardwired by Walter John Williams. And on the front cover, which I can just barely read here, I'm going to have to get my varifocals in gear here, it says, "A tough, sleek juggernaut of a story. It has all of my favourite things: blood, love, fire, hate, and a high ideal or two. I wish I had written it," says Roger Zelazny, no less. That has a very 80s or 90s maybe vibe to it. The guy on the right there looks like Dolph Lundgren, and you know, he's bare down to the his shirt's open down to the chest. He's littered with weapons and knives and guns and stuff, so it looks pretty rock and roll. I have no idea what the book's about or if it's any good or not, but Michael certainly likes the cover, and he's also provided a just the art version of it, so you can get a closer look. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it more closely. So thank you, Michael, for sending that. Next, from Hayden, who runs a channel in Australia called, what's it called? Galactic SF, I think, or Vintage SF Collector, something like that. I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember off the top of my head. And he sent me two different copies of the same book. So this is Thor. Sounds like you're trying to spit something, doesn't it? Thor, by Piers Anthony, which is not a book that I've read. And apparently it's a return to the caverns of Chthon. So there must be more than one, I guess. So that's one copy. I'm not sure who it's by, but it's a pretty impressive little ensemble there. It looks kind of like science fantasy. It looks like there's a scantily clad kind of hero type with is that an axe or a hammer or something like that, and then a bunch of creatures. I particularly like the owl guy in the chariot there. And then there's another copy of the same book, I think, yeah, and this is a different one. So I'm not sure which editions they are or who did the artwork for them. This one's just got a hero with a spear and a chuffing great big, looks like a dinosaur or a dragon on the front. If you see me looking down here, it's because I'm looking at my laptop screen whilst I'm talking, so I can see them myself. And okay, so that's Hayden's offering. Thank you, Hayden. And then Joe, who you often see as Dagmar Collapse when he comments on my videos. He's in Germany, I strongly suspect. So he sent me a cover of the German edition of Ken MacLeod's The Cassini Division, which I have to say I like a lot better than the edition that I've got. Yeah, that's the UK edition, and the paperback's got basically the same image on it. So this is a bit cooler. It's got a more obvious spaceship. And I quite like that picture myself. I'm fond of a spaceship, as you know. I always wondered why German in particular, but I think it's true of other languages too, have Roman on the book. And I was trying to work out if that meant, does that mean it's in Latin? I'm sure it doesn't. And then I subsequently discovered that it's essentially informing you that it's a novel. And then he sent me another book here called Krakat. It looks like I would guess, Polish author by the name Karol Capek. Possibly German, but it looks Polish to me. Krakat, I've no idea what that's about, but that's got a guy, a crazy looking doctor with, are those his hands? I think they are. So one kind of scaly looking hand and one that looks mutated somehow, and then a dirty great big syringe, so he looks like he's fixing to jab someone with. It's Krakatit anyway, not Krakat. And actually, Joe didn't give me any notes for that one, so you're just going to have to enjoy the picture, and that's all I can tell you about it. And then he sent me a Philip K. Dick, which in English is Cosmic Puppets and Other Life Forms. And Joe says that this cover says a lot about how important it is for the publisher to show an authentic picture of his author. Yeah. So I think that actually is I think that might be a pretty good likeness of Philip K. Dick, actually. So I don't know if that's like a collection of short stories. I think it probably is. Yeah, he sent me what in English would be Michael Marshall Smith's Only Forward, but in German it says, I'm going to absolutely butcher this, I'm sure, Stark, the Traumdetektiv. So I guess there's some kind of detective. What I particularly like is the kind of comic or almost manga or anime style of the drawing, or it's almost cartoony. I like it. And then so that's it from Joe, I think. And then Torsten, another frequent regular viewer and regular commenter, hi Torsten, has sent me Alan Dean Foster, which I think is probably, yes, it's the German the German edition of Midworld, Die Denkendenwalder. Oh, that was pretty good. Die Denkendenwalder. Anyway, it's Midworld. And I thought, without looking too closely at the title or the author, that it was the cover for Hot House. But obviously, it not being Brian Aldiss or indeed Hot House has ruled that out. But that's what I initially thought of when I saw it. And then he sent me a cover of a German edition of Dune. And I don't know if that cover was used on other editions or if it's unique to the German edition. But again, it's not called Dune. It's called Der Wastenplanet. I wonder if that means the dust planet or the spice planet, maybe. I'm not sure. Anyway, that is Dune. It's obviously a sandworm on the front there with some small people about to get crushed or eaten, or perhaps they're just going to hitch a lift to the shops or something on the worm. I mean, it's not Bruce Pennington, but, you know, it's pretty good. And then he sent me a Jim Burns image, Mechanismo Starport. And I don't know if that's because it's from a book called Mechanismo Starport, or if that's just the name of the image. It could be. It has the look of a sort of wraparound cover art, doesn't it? Sort of the right hand side would be the front cover, and then nothing much happening on the spine, and then the rear cover. But I don't know. It could just be an image that he did for shits and giggles. I don't know. But I do like his artwork, and so does Torsten. And then Brian down in Australia, Brian, also a regular viewer and frequent commenter, thank you, Brian, has sent me a bunch of things, including a British edition of Jack Vance's Showboat Worlds, the Corgi paperbacks. The amazing adventures of two wily rogues on a planet settled by Earth's misfits. Vast, beautiful, untamed, big planet lay beyond the frontier of terrestrial law. Its inhabitants were eccentric misfits, descended from the original refugees from Earth, etc., etc., etc. So I didn't know. So I guess is that like a sequel to Big Planet? In fact, I haven't yet read any Jack Vance. I've got Star King on my list to read during June, so I will get to that. But I've got another 20 odd Jack Vance books on my shelves. And then he sent me, Brian has sent me his namesake, Brian Aldiss, Space, Time and Nathaniel in the New English Library, which went through a spell in the New English Library of having some really splendid covers. And in the cover art video that I did a couple of months back of my favourite cover art in my collection, there were quite a few New English Library books in that. And I think there were probably one or two in the last viewer favourites as well. And there is another one to come in this video, actually. But that's really nice. I probably it's Bruce Pennington. Quite a lot of the those New English Library 70s kind of era books were by Bruce Pennington, the covers anyway. I really like it. Good choice, Brian. And then he sent me a Lloyd Biggle Jr. Monument. Not sure what's going on there. Looks like a kind of crashed spaceship. Yeah, I'd say that's what it is. A crashed spaceship on some kind of alien world. Yeah, I quite like that one. I probably prefer the previous one, to be honest, but yeah, pretty good. And then he sent me, a bunch of these are from Brian, he sent me The Dark Side of the Sun by Terry Pratchett, which is not a book I've ever heard of. I'm guessing that would be one of his non-Discworld science fiction books, of which there are a couple. He's mainly known for Discworld, of course, and perhaps to a lesser extent the Long Earth books that he wrote with, who wrote those? Stephen Baxter? Yeah, Stephen Baxter. Mainly Discworld, of course, of which there are many. But I have a vague recollection that that's well, I know it's nothing to do with Discworld, and I think it's just it's kind of singleton science fiction novel. But anyway, the important thing is it's got a chuffing great big, what looks like mechanized insect on it, which looks like it's up to no good. That's pretty impressive. And then also from Brian is another gigantic insect. So this is one of the prequels to the Pip and Flinks books, Nor Crystal Tears. I think it's Pip and Flinks, or maybe the Common Humanx books. I don't know. I get confused by which series is which and whether the extent to which they're merged. But anyway, as with the previous one, the important thing is that the cover is really nice. So this is is it a Del Rey or Ballantine maybe? I can't quite read the colophon on the cover. My knees are dim, my eyes are weak. But that has got looks like a praying mantis, maybe, or a locust. I would say it's a praying mantis, and he's doing the whole kind of live long and prosper mind meld thing with Matey there on the right hand side. Very nice too. And I think this is the last one from Brian. This is The Food of the Gods, H.G. Wells, and he looks like, wait for it, he looks like a fun guy to be with. See what I did there? Comedy gold. This is comedy gold. So that's like a Edwardian dressed type gentleman in +4s on a bike with giant mushrooms behind him. in the Sphere Science Fiction edition. I have not read that H.G. Wells book. And sent to me by Richard Rempel of this here YouTube parish, he of the Vintage SF channel. And many of you will probably be familiar with Richard's work. He has recently finished his read of the entire Ace special science fiction collection of the across all 3 series, I believe. And he's now munching his way slowly through the Golank's science fiction masterworks books. But he sent me The Palace of Eternity by Bob Shaw, which is his favourite Ace special cover, and it is rather lovely, quite abstract, pretty colourful, nice image. I like it. And then Andrew, who is a big Darkover fan, I think it was Andrew last time that sent the Tells the Amberden covers. He was a big fan of those, and he's a big fan of Darkover as well. And these are all Darkover covers. So this is the World Records. I don't know where that fits in the extensive Darkover universe of novels. But there it is. There's a spaceship. Always like a good spaceship. I don't know if that's the original kind of crashed spaceship, probably, or if it's another one. Don't know. And here's another one, The Heritage of Hastor, with what looks like, I don't know what that is. Is it a spaceship? Is it a beached whale? Is it, I don't know, there's a fella's head there. I don't know what's going on there. That's looks pretty complex stuff to me. Arrow Science Fantasy, that is. So that is it's unsure of itself. The Swords of Aldone is another Darkover book, and this is if you didn't know, you would think, well, it's definitely fantasy, isn't it? It's a lass with a giant sword and a skeleton with a sword in it and all that sort of stuff. It's kind of classic fantasy stuff, but there is an element, I am led to believe, of science fiction in those books. Not read any. I need to a bit like with Anne McCaffrey, I need to read them, give her a chance, and then either double down and get some more, or jettison them if it's not my cup of tea. I've got a couple. The Bloody Sun, I don't have that one. Again, another attractive cover, and these are all in the matching Arrow. Is it Arrow? Yeah, Arrow Science Fantasy series. And then we got The Winds of Darkover. Very nice too. Looks like a flying saucer's crashed. And then Kenny RH. Kenny, some of you might be familiar with, has a long-standing YouTube channel he's had for many years, covering an assortment of different things that he collects. He's got a wide range of collecting tastes. I don't know where he finds the room. I have enough trouble with just books. But anyway, he sent me a couple of weeks back a couple of covers to include it in this video. The first of them is a door, of course. He's a big door fan. He doesn't like doors that open and shut. It's the Doors books. Silly. Stress Pattern by Neil Barrett Jr., which has the whiff of Bruce Pennington about it. I don't think it is Bruce Pennington, but it has that kind of very similar vibe to the New English Library Brian Aldiss book that we looked at earlier. Similar sort of pastel-y shades. And there's a giant, I don't know what, coming out of the desert there with some podgy-looking kind of Oompa Loompa types, and a guy with a spiky hat on the front. I'm resisting the urge to make some kind of juvenile remark about the phallic nature of that object. I'm not going to do that because I'm, 53, sadly. And then he sent me a classic, The Shadow of the Torturer, Gene Wolfe. It must be a US edition, I would imagine. Kenny's fond of a US edition. I'm not sure who the artist for that is. I don't think there are some Bruce Pennington covers for the Book of the New Sun books, but I don't think that's one of them. I think that's a US edition. Could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. And then Kenny also sent me this one, Novelettes. I didn't think you spelt novelettes like that. I thought it was E-T-T-E-S, kind of French style. Maybe it's probably a US edition as well, yeah. Oh no, it's not, 3 and 6. It's a UK edition. I wonder why we went all Anglo with that. Anyway, novelettes, maybe that is how you spell it. I don't think I've ever seen it written down before, so like, how would I know? Anyway, this is an anthology never before published in paperback, including folks like James Blish and L. Sprague de Camp and Clifford Simak, etc., etc. You can read it as well as I can. And that has got a giant egg with pterodactyls and some kind of astronauts and some kind of bat-winged alien lady with green skin on it. There's quite a lot going on in that cover. Thank you, Kenny, for sending me that. There's one last one. It's another New English Library from another Brian Aldiss, actually, The Heirs of Earth. So that goes in a set with the other one we saw earlier on, the name of which something in Nathaniel, I think, if I remember rightly. And that, again, I have a big soft spot for those New English Library covers. I think they're really nice, very good, very evocative, very nice pieces of art, as you'd expect from Bruce Pennington. I think they're all Bruce Pennington. And that is the last one. So I expect we'll do another one of these at some point in the future, in a few months' time. There's a rich vein of science fiction cover art to mine, and we'll easily get through another one of these without trying too hard. Thank you to everybody that sent me some art after me nagging a couple of times. Really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye for now.